Hello to all my friends out there. How you guys? It's still brutally hot here. This has been going on for a month. So I will do the best I can. If I waited until it cooled down, there would never be another video for a month at least. So I hope everyone is doing okay. There's some scary stuff going on out there. This video is what could it hurt to keep exercising extreme care until the end of the year, and why that might be a good idea. Okay, yesterday it was discovered that there was very little lunch meat. I think people here are stockpiling up the food. Okay, if you don't have any money, go to the food banks now, go to the food pantries now, get EBT, get welfare, whatever you have to do, and stock up your house full of food, and we're going to get into why in a minute. Okay, I did find some lunch meat, but I only found a little bit of turkey lunch meat, so I'm going to be buying a couple big pounds and freezing them, because if you just have a sandwich, a small fruit, and a small salad and a can of soda pop, you can survive. So I thought, wow, I feel so good, because as long as I know I have lunch meat, I'm not going to starve. And so what was sold out? Lunch meat, yes. So they had bologna, but that's all they had. So then I thought, wow, I'm going to see if I can find cheap soda pop. So guess what? I couldn't. But guess what? Today, I went to 99-cent only, and I found the 25-cent per can soda pop. So you might be going, Rhoda, why is that even a big deal? Actually, I kind of like Diet Coke much better. Yeah, me too. But you get 4 of these, and this was all they had. And I'm sorry to report to you guys, I was a resource hog and I bought it all. So now tonight I will drink one of my 25-cent. And if you recycled the can, it would be 20 cents. My neighbor recycles, so I just can't. I have too much food and clothes. You guys might have seen it last night. I'm going through the clothes item by item by item. So how I found this was I had to get ice. It is just too hot to mess around. Okay, I'm being very careful, and I'm not using my air because I'm conserving every penny. I use it at night when I sleep because I have insomnia. So I also found dented cans of chips. Half the time when I eat them, they're smashed anyway. So I got these for 50 cents each, and those will taste good with my turkey sandwiches. So, okay, so now I like to do the videos where I cook and then I talk at the end, but this was running too long, so I thought I'm going to do this. It's in no particular order. It's just whatever I thought of. So first most important thing is stockpile food, and I posted a couple of good pastors, but I have another one. And he did a video. I think I put it on my Twitter, but I will. So, nobody is going to stock up. Food shortage, prepare now. Accurate into. I think he's the same guy who had the prophecy in a dream. I listen to these people in their dreams. I don't have a panic attack, but if it seems like a good idea. And he had a prophecy to stockpile mason jars. And so this is like going back to the thing, okay, to do it, but I haven't done it yet, but I will as soon as I find some. I'm not 100% sure on those Walmart mason jars that are $11 for 12, because good mason jars are $1 each in the thrift store, so I'm looking into that. So what he's saying is where he's living, no one's listening, no one's stockpiling food, no one's worried. I mentioned some stuff that I saw today, and I'm thinking it's not that no one's worried, but a lot of times when people are under too much stress, they do nothing. Because if you have all this stuff to do, like get food, and you can't afford it, and you know you need food or you're going to starve, what they will do is nothing. So that's why the prophecy, get 1 or 2 cans a day, by one of the true prophets, another one. A true prophet will not lead the flock into danger. A true prophet's ways there is no fear in the prophecy. There's a prophecy on there on my Twitter, and it talks about how the end of times will be just like the children, the Hebrews during the Egyptian times. And what happened is the Egyptians would be stricken by all kinds of God's judgments, but the Hebrews would essentially be unaffected. Not to say that some of this stuff isn't going to affect us, but if we follow the Lord's ways that are simple, easy ways, I think one of the best things is 1 day at a time. Okay, so the prudent thing to do is between now and the end of the year, 1 day at a time, just do some of the stuff we're going to be talking about. So nobody is stocking up. It's not, I believe it's too stress provoking. All this stuff, unemployment, the COVID, all this stuff. So, okay, so now about unemployment. Okay, there's a lot of people that are unemployed, and they're receiving unemployment benefits. So that is an artificial, say, transfusion to the people to keep them in one piece during the pandemic. Is it good? No, it really isn't, but it's helping. It's at least they're getting by, but that unemployment will end. So if you work in a job that was impossible to work, you have got to find another job, because any job is, and I think a lot of people are thinking, I'm going to go back to my job. Maybe. We'll get into that. So, they're saying if we're lucky when this unemployment peaks, it would be around 11%. We would be lucky. But if we're not lucky, and we probably aren't right now as we speak, it would be around 23%, which would indicate a depression is on the way, which would indicate we need to buy food so that we're not in the person standing at the end of the line eating a bowl of beans with no beans. I have seen that. I think it was Venezuela. Right now we can get beans at the food bank. I posted a video. I went to the food bank when I was sick. I'm still entitled to go because I have a really low income. And I also went to the food pantry when I was sick. And I wouldn't let what anyone thinks stop me, because, you know, some of the most vulnerable people are seniors. And so you want to stock up. They were saying never in history have people had a chance to prepare for a depression, for a famine. So what we want to do, in my opinion, is be extremely careful. You know, don't go out of our self-isolation except for like going to work, and then, you know, exercise caution, extreme caution. Because if you bring it home, you're going to give it to your whole entire family, and someone might possibly die. Okay, so now, the general population could be in denial about unemployment. But the banks are not. The banks are hoarding cash, and why? Because the banks are saving a big cushion of money to counteract the coming defaults, because they know they're coming. So, if this is what the banks are doing, wouldn't we want to do that? And how we could do that is just by slashing all of our expenses as low as we possibly can and stop spending. They're saying a lot of people are just spending the unemployment checks like, oh goody, I have more money. That is not smart. Okay, so slash expenses, stop spending, and hoard cash in small bills. Also, since the banks are trying to hoard cash, I decided the only place I'm putting cash is in the bank. I will pay everything else with a card, because my bank can help me out a lot if I need something. And my credit cards can help me out a lot. This month I got $100 cash back from 2 of my cards. So you might go, well, yeah, because you charge stuff. Well, yeah, but I got to eat anyway. I didn't charge anything wild. Okay, so the banks are expecting mass bankruptcies, and we'll get into that in a minute. Mass defaults on anything and everything you can default on. And so if we stockpile food, that is really going to help us, for one thing, because we won't go hungry. For another thing, because members of our family isn't going to go hungry, because we're going to give them some of our food, or the neighbors. And for another thing, we won't have to spend any money for weeks to months, because we stockpile food. And another thing, if you get food that you don't like at the food bank or the food pantry, put it in your stockpile or eat it. And praise God that you've got food. Okay, so now, unless it's just something that's really going to kill you, like if you're a diabetic, don't eat the cupcakes. Okay, so now, one thing that is signaling problems is retail. What happens when people don't have money is they can't spend money, and then the retail or the stores that sell merchandise suffer. And when they suffer, then that brings the gross domestic product down, because that's what the gross domestic product is. It's all the stuff we buy and sell. It doesn't matter if it's a service, it doesn't matter what it is. So it's really bad when that starts to fail. And it also is like a red flag or a check mark for a depression or a recession or inflation, because when the demand is down, generally the price goes up. I would expect spikes in food and gas. Okay, they are saying, and I wouldn't doubt this, 60% of businesses closed from the COVID are not coming back. So they're saying, a lot of these small businesses, I work for many of them. I would rather stay home than work for the people that I used to work for, because I would know that they would not let me earn a living in their shops. Okay. So they're saying 60% of these businesses are not coming back. And why that is bad is, say, if these small businesses employed 2, 4, 10, 20. I used to, I used to work in salons, like, what was that restaurant? Oscars or something like that. And one of those restaurants would have 60 employees. And I told you about the restaurant today where I saw an obviously sick guy in there for at least an hour. It is very dangerous. Okay, so now another thing is Businesses as well as individuals are given cash transfusions to keep them going, but those will not last forever. Okay, merchandise, mass merchandises, a lot of the clothing stores have gone out of business. I wrote some down, I'll tell you in a few minutes. And service businesses are really bad. Gyms, those kind of businesses. These child care places. Now here, they're like enclosed. I think those are super dangerous. I think the day of ever being in one of those places is over. Okay, the church I saw today was an enclosed building with our partitions, so nobody could see what they were doing in there. But after my cycling around, what they were doing is it was set up just like a church with no social distancing and a lot of singing. That is irresponsible. I do not believe that COVID is over. In fact, I think it will run its course for 2 years. That's what I think. So I think, and these child care places that are like a room, a big room, or I worked in salons, there was no ventilation. And it was bad enough with the toxic nail fumes. They were always sick. I never was, because when I went home, the minute I got home, I stayed outside until midnight, just to breathe some of that poisonous air out. Doctors wouldn't go into those places. Okay, so we want to survive this. We want to survive this unemployment thing. So what I had done is I set up an eBay business, and eBay has done everything they possibly can to help me. I had 30 free posts, and they upped my posts to 200 free posts. What I try to do is I try to make sure everything I post sells. I don't want stuff just sitting on there. I don't want to have to pay for stuff. That was like when I was doing hair. I wasn't going to pay them to sit there. No, if I did something, I wanted 60 or 70%. Sometimes I could only get 50, but I got at least a bite out of every single piece of work I did. Okay, so now I am dropping the swap meet business because of the COVID. But that doesn't mean that my stuff has no value, because what I want to do now is set up resale stores, like thrift stores, privately owned by me. And part of the stuff will be sold on eBay, but I want to set up barter shops where we could barter, or people that I knew to be safe could buy, or, relatives, friends. So I'm moving from working for other people to only working for myself. I have to give eBay a 15%, a 10% bite. I have to give PayPal a 5% bite. I have to pay taxes, and then usually I'm responsible for the shipping. But generally the person pays you, and if you don't have the money, you can get the shipping. You can pay yourself and get the shipping. So it can be done. And I could do the swap meet, but I don't plan on doing that. I want to move towards privately owned shop, barter shops, because I think that's the thing that's going to keep us the safest. Okay, so no. Really, really bad places are Las Vegas. They are expecting huge default waves, unemployment. What's going to happen? They're saying this unemployment benefit runs out at the end of October. These people, these brace yourself people with the, the terrible predictions for September and October, that's when the unemployment runs out. They're going, it's the election possibly, but I think it would be more like no money. So you have to figure out what you're going to do in that case. Okay, where am I going to live if I can't pay my rent? The time will come when the evictions and the foreclosures will happen. These bailouts cannot last forever. So badly affected places is Las Vegas, Hawaii, and California, especially now that California is on fire. They're saying the bad places, San Diego, where I live, and I can see that. San Francisco, San Jose, and Los Angeles. Okay, and there is an exodus from California to Arizona. I told you, I have known quite a few people who have done that, and it has not been successful. It's very hot over there. Okay, so now there has been a prediction of an earthquake in LA, and let me give you the video. I will put it on my Twitter. I would check this out. She has had this prophecy, and so she was given a prophecy that there would be a 4.5 earthquake on the 21st. A big one would come on the 22nd, and these will happen in the middle of the night, and then a meteor. Mrs. Cindy MP. Okay, the meteor might not possibly hit Earth. For one thing, they have technology to knock these meteors off track, but it could knock out the power, which would be super bad because California is brutally hot right now, and the fires are not totally contained. So it's much better to have 4 cans of cheap Coke. Okay, so what she's saying is totally leave the area if you can. But if you're not, then we go back to the prophecy of how God took care of his children. But if you do have the ways and the means, it might be a good idea. Okay. Now, the problem, one of the problems is the high debt loads. Okay, Americans, not just Americans, people all over the world had very high percents of debt, which causes all kinds of trouble. So before this lockdown, people were buried in debt, and then it's not going to get any better. Okay, so now you've got these businesses carrying this high amount of debt, dependent on traffic in the shopping malls, and there is no traffic in the shopping malls because you have been closed down, and the only people doing business are like Target and Walmart. So now, this is what I think I see. It makes sense. I mean, I was so aggravated so many times. Let me show you something. I forgot to bring it over. There is no damn merchandise in the stores. The stuff is all picked over and it looks like crap. Why? Because you know what they're doing? They're liquidating what they have, and they're saying, okay, here, this is the merchandise you will buy. Not all the places, but a lot. So, like, I was trying to buy a few simple things, and so this is a sweatshirt that I bought from Walmart. This is cute, and it's long too. One of the few pieces of merchandise in the whole store that looked like it was actually new. And so what they're doing is they're liquidating all their own merchandise. Okay, so now we see Pier 1 going down, Steinmart going down, Lord & Taylor going down, Sears going down, and the malls reducing, or the malls going down. And they're saying, like, even the big players like Walmart in these places, they don't need the malls. They have online. Another thing is robots are going to be able to take over a lot of our jobs. Oh, really? How would that happen? Have you seen the kiosks in Walmart? There will be 1 or 2 checkers, and there is like 6, 8, 10 of these kiosks. Another thing is like there's jobs, like some of these fast food jobs. Why are they going to ever open up dining rooms again and re-employ people when they can make people, do the drive up? And people are accepting all kinds of low standards, mainly because we have no other choice. So robots. So what I saw today is I saw a church in an enclosed room with no ventilation, no social distancing, no masks, and singing. That's why they say the protests are so dangerous, because people are yelling and they're breathing in the air. So now, a true prophet will not lead the flock into danger. Okay, I could see a park where everybody was socially distanced and the minister was talking on the microphone, something like that. Or else, just like the bartering, you would have your own small little group so that you wouldn't get sick. Another thing is if you can continue homeschooling your kids, that's safer. Okay, restaurants, same thing. Enclosed areas with no ventilation, the days of that should be over, if we know what's going to be good for us. Another bad thing is I thought I saw a couple nurses saying that the COVID has come back on them. I wouldn't doubt it. They were trying to say that if you've had it, you would be immune, but the immunity would only last for a few months. People who get bronchitis catch it over and over again. Okay, so in San Diego, 20 out of 1,000 people have a small business. That's a lot. Possibly 60% of these businesses are not going to be able to reopen, especially if people are not careful. There is no controlling somebody like the guy I saw going into the restaurant and the policewoman who said she couldn't do anything buying her food in the restaurant. I go, are you crazy? Okay. So these businesses before the pandemic had a high rate, and so what we are looking for, and we will see, is high home defaults and apartment evictions. This is why the banks are hoarding the cash, and we should be doing the same thing. Also, car payment defaults. And if that's you, you got to figure out how to get another car. A little nice van would be good. Okay, let's see. As of August, 32% or 1/3 of the mortgages and the rents were not paid. This is a huge amount. There's been a forbearance, there's been these rent forgiveness things, but those won't last forever. Okay, then there is this issue that is a very bad sign, debt to income ratio, and they're saying now it is as high as 38 to 40%, which is really bad. On every dollar you have a debt of 30 cents to 40 cents, or on every $1,000, $300 to $400 debt. So what's going to happen? Well, they're going to default. And it's not just the U.S., it's the entire world. So what we will want to say is well, what could it hurt to be careful, because people keep going into these crowds and they're not careful. Chances are we will experience a second wave. Okay, now the GDP, the gross domestic product, was 19.5 trillion, but the debt, the overall debt, I don't know if it's the whole country, is 27.7%. So figure it, you have an income of $19,000 and you have a debt of $27,000. It's not good. So if you go to a lender and you want to buy a house, the high end would be 36% of your income. And that will tighten up. That's why you want to keep your bank happy. Okay, so now what they're saying is the Federal Reserve, which is privately owned, is buying up these defaults. Because there's a lot of delinquent payments right now and failure to make the payments. And eventually those will cause defaults. So we have unemployment, we have defaults, we have real estate. Those kind of indicate a recession is coming. No. About the homes. Okay, the price is going up and the sales, a lot of the sales are pending. That just means there's a lot of sales pending, not necessarily money coming in, pending sales. So now, these people are getting the unemployment, and this is supposed to end at the end of October. September, October, November, December, a mass unemployment, a mass number of defaults, possible real estate crash. Not possible. It's not going to continue the way it has been. It's artificially, all this stuff, the employment is artificially propped up. The businesses have been giving money. I remember it was last year, we knew of some people from China, and they said, if this goes on, we will lose everything. So you can basically say, you know, as of last year, if the year before it went on until the end of the year, they would lose everything. Okay, Americans are probably in the same condition. If it goes on until the end of the year, possibility they're going to lose their businesses, they're going to lose, you know, everything. Some of them are going to be able to cut their losses, and they'll be better off if they pay their bills. So we are expected to have a mass unemployed. So say if you're lucky and you're like stockpiling food, slashing your prices, saving small cash bills as much as you can, preparing for a depression or a famine, you are going to be so much better off. And so then let's say if the end of the year we get some V-shaped recovery. I'm going to tell you a bad thing, something real bad about a V-shaped recovery. How about a war? How would that be? Okay, so we shouldn't expect resorts like Las Vegas, restaurants and bars to reopen. Oh, that's okay, we'll vaccinate everyone and everything will be okay. I don't think so. I say the prudent thing to do is drink your 25-cent Coke or drink iced tea and find some cheap meals and survive one day at a time and try to set up yourself a barter store. Now the online stores are not going to be gold mines because if people have less money to spend, there's going to be less spending. Okay, and then I have a pretty successful little store, and I'm keeping it little on purpose right now, and I see people coming in trying to find out how to price their store. I'm not in the business of pricing other people's stores. And so it also doesn't make eBay happy. So I avoid that. When I was a hairdresser, part of the problem, I would go into failing shops, is they had no clue about how to price their service. When you're a low-end shop, you cannot price your product like a high-end shop because you cannot deliver. It's like people who are accustomed to like luxury items, they can spot a knockoff in a second. But if you can't afford that luxury item, if you get a fairly close knockoff, you're happy because you can't afford an expensive item. Like an expensive haircut would be a shampoo, a mask, some good serum, some point cutting, some custom cut in your cut, some kind of blow dry, you know, like that, which might take close to an hour. You have no business doing that on, say, a $10 haircut. That pays you for 10 minutes. Yes, you can put in a basic haircut and the person can get by and look nice. That is the whole point. You can find luxury items in thrift stores and you can resell them. And it is not easy to learn the pricing. And I can't help you with that. Okay, so now when people have less money, the GDP goes down because people spend less money, but I can still prevail because if I get the item very cheap, I can sell it very cheap. Why do I care? I got it very cheap. I want to give my customer a good deal because I know someone's going to buy it, and then I'm going to... Somebody was trying to find out why I priced this watch. This is a Guess watch at $20. So, you know, well, I've sold one of these watches for $50. This is a vintage watch. Well, my watch is really nice, and if you don't have something like this and you were to get mine, I want to make sure you are very, very happy. So you might be thinking, so what will you do? Well, I got this watch very, very cheap, and I will sell this watch for $20. I want to make sure that my person is very happy, but this watch, although it's very nice, is not brand new, it's used. So you have to use common sense. You have to try to think like your client. Another job that's probably they're gonna be screwed. Disneyland, SeaWorld, Wild Animal Park, and Astroworld. So in real estate, we've got pending sales, and we've got the central bank buying the real estate from the banks. Okay, so now, let's see, I wanted to tell you guys about Christmas. Okay, what they are expecting is a very crappy Black Friday, and I wouldn't doubt it. So what I would suggest is, here's something I'm making. Look at this loveliness. Yes, I'm making a very cute gift. And just to let you know, there's no flipping yarn. That's why I have this assortment. This isn't what I wanted, but I thought it is so hot, you guys. So you can make some gifts. Also, last year I went and I bought my son a whole bunch of clothes at the thrift store. Thrift stores, but you have to be careful because it's going to be very bad if you catch the COVID. When I bought this watch, what I did was I dashed in. They had 2 watches. I bought them and I dashed out as quick as I can. Sunday is usually a really good day, not too crowded, and you know, I'll be looking around. So maybe thrift stores, maybe online good deals like my great watch. Okay, so now, well, why should we wait until the end of the year? Well, I have some reasons. I want to give them to you. Most of the people that follow me are saying to themselves, no way am I exposing myself to the COVID. No way am I spending any money. I am going to stockpile my house full of food and I am going to save money because we're all like-minded, okay? So now here is what we're watching out for. Okay, Mrs. Cindy MP has predicted an earthquake in LA. Okay, the thing about that is the San Andreas Fault, it runs all the way down, you know, to the East County of San Diego. And I am so old, I remember it's hit there before, and it cracked the foundations and messed up the houses really bad. I don't remember any loss of life. Also, a few years ago, we had a really bad earthquake in Simi Valley. A lot of people are leaving those areas. Okay, another bad thing we could expect this winter is floods. We've already seen a few floods. I would expect more floods because the water, what we're at is year 2 of the grand solar minimum, which is going to involve a lot of snow. When it melts, a lot of rain. Okay, in San Diego County, when that smoke blew down here, and it's really bad, and I showed you that poor little bird. And in a lot of places, there's terrible deaths of birds, and it's probably because they were exposed to smoke during their migration, I would assume. They're not saying that, but what else is going to kill all those birds? So floods, especially if the areas north of you flood, and that water is going to run down. So what we have is we will have the water. Okay, now all the trees have burned down. It's still going to snow. The water is going to melt, and it's going to flow down to the Gulf of Mexico on the west coast. Baja California. It's going to flow down, and it's going to flow down east to the Gulf of Mexico. I would expect floods. Storms, bad storms. Freezing cold storms. Freezing weather. Okay, now, riots and looting. What good riots and looting is really going to do, I am not sure. I would say the prudent thing to do is vote. But I want to mention something is when we had the riots and looting here, or if we have a power outage, you cannot get into the Walmart. When we had the riots and the looting, they removed all the baby formula. So if you are going to need it, try to get some baby formula now. It's going to be very, very bad if these babies don't have formula. Make sure you have milk too if you have kids. So that is all I wanted to say on that. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And hello to all my new followers. And thank you for, I'm trying to take a positive approach. But part of being positive is being prepared. I mean, it is hot here. What is going to happen if we have some kind of earthquake or they knock the power out and we don't have any water? And the Walmart is locked up. These stores are locked up. Okay, in the 99-cent stores, there's very little food. I think people bought it all. So, you know, just every time you go to the store, buy toilet paper, buy a case of water, buy a little extra food, store up a little money, make sure your car has gas, and anything else you can think of to prepare. Mainly water is really going to kill you if something happens there. I refill my water for 20 cents, but don't forget you can fill containers with water out of the tap. It's better, also if something happens, fill your bathtub with water. Make sure your bathtubs, while we're going through this possible bad stuff, keep your bathtub clean, or have big garbage cans you can fill with water. And remember, you can sanitize your water with 16 drops of bleach in 1 gallon, or you can use vinegar in your drinking water. Okay, you guys, please like, comment, and subscribe, and God bless you all.